The book of Job, which is thought by many to be the oldest book in the Bible, goes back to approximately 2150 BC, which is 650 years before Moses began to write the Torah. In chapter 38, the Creator speaks to Job of Pleiades and Orion. Also in the book of Job, mention is made of the constellations Cetus and Draco. In Job 38:32, God states, "Can you bring forth Mazzaroth in his season?" Now, Mazzaroth is the Hebrew word meaning the constellations of the Zodiac. In what may be the oldest book in all of human history, we find that the constellations of the Zodiac were already clearly known and understood. And according to an Arabic tradition, the signs of the Zodiac came from Seth and Enosh, the son and grandson of Adam. This tradition is interesting since it links the Zodiac to the beginning of man's existence, lending a compelling explanation to the ancient and universal understanding of these signs in the heavens. In Bereshit, Genesis, chapter 1, verse 14, we read, "And let them be for signs, for seasons, for days and years." Now, it's easy to understand how the sun, the moon, and the stars are about seasons, days, and years, but how are they signs? A sign is something which proclaims a message. So what is the message of the stars? Psalm 119, verses 1 and 2 tells us this: "The heavens declare the glory of Elohim, and the firmament shows his handiwork. Day to day utters speech, and night unto night shows knowledge." Ancient mythologies derived from the Zodiac tell a story of a God-man born of a virgin, performing wonders, and paying the highest price to save us. He is the hero who is stronger than our enemies, destroying all evil in the end. He rises up from death and reigns victorious in a new kingdom with those he has saved. This is the mythology of pagan civilizations. This is the message of the stars. I submit to you that the message of the stars is the plan of redemption, written by the hand of God himself, and revealed to Adam and to his sons and grandsons. And that message has gone out into all of the civilizations of the world, passed down through the centuries. Psalm 19, verses 3 and 4. "There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. Their line has gone out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world." Now, I'm going to further investigate the real meaning of the constellations later on, probably do a series where we talk about all of them, starting with Virgo, because that's where the story starts, which promises a miraculous birth through a virgin. Same story, no matter where you go in all the world, the mythology is the same. She holds a sheaf of wheat in her hand. She's also known as the house of bread, for she will bear the one who will be the true bread from heaven for the soul of every man. But right now I want to focus on unraveling this part 1 of Zeitgeist the movie. Okay? They did some interesting things with dating, as I find atheists love to do. Okay? You got to beware of ancient dating. Okay? Atheistic scientists and historians are famous for arbitrarily setting past dates with no sound justification. For example, it was stated that Horus of Egypt dates back to 3000 BC. Now, according to the math of the Bible, the worldwide flood of Noah's day occurred around 2344 BC. At that time, there were only 8 people alive: Noah, his wife, and Noah's 3 sons and their wives. Ham, the son of Noah, then fathered Mitzrayim after the flood, and he was the father of the Mitzrites, otherwise known as the Egyptians. The Tower of Babel incident, when the population of all the earth was scattered, occurred around 2218 BC. This date corresponds remarkably to the approximate date of the origin of the Chinese people and language. which is another of the oldest known civilizations of man. According to the math of the biblical account, there was no China or Egypt until after 2218 BC. And according to the math, Adam was created approximately 4000 BC, with the pre-flood population in the days of Methuselah, Lamech, and Noah, who were the 8th and 9th and 10th descendants of Adam, still walking the earth in 3000 BC when they talk about Egypt. Okay? You got to be careful of dating, because they'll always throw you on that. Okay? Again, you need to consider whose bias is the most reasonable in everything I'm telling you. In addition to the prophecies that are stretched out above us in the constellations of the Zodiac, other astrological occurrences were mentioned in the movie that deserve a fair consideration. First, they said it was said that Sirius is called the star in the east, and that on December 24th, 3 of the brightest stars in Orion's belt align themselves with it. It is said that these 3 stars are known as 3 kings. The sun sets in the lowest place of the sky for 3 days between December 22nd and 24th at the constellation of the Southern Cross, and on December 25th it begins to rise again. Virgo, the Virgin, is known as the House of Bread, as I mentioned before, or Bethlehem, the identical name of the city where Micah prophesied the Messiah would be born. So it's really perspective, because they see all of this as some sort of a trick that, you know, these things were done in the skies, and therefore the story was some sort of a fable. Okay? But again, when you understand what the stars are for, everything about Messiah is painted there in the stars. So this only serves as further witness to the prophetic nature of the heavens for those who have eyes to see. It becomes increasingly apparent, as Luke wrote in Acts 14:17, he left himself not without witness, which is the reason why that nobody is going to be without excuse. Then they go crazy on this thing about 12. And I thought this was just probably one of the most ludicrous things in the whole film. Trying to pass the Bible off as a literary and astrological plagiarism, the narrator went off on this thing about the number 12. Now, gematria is the study of numerical equivalence, how every letter in the Hebrew language has a numerical value, and therefore there's a significance to numbers. And I've come to understand the importance of numbers and how the Creator works within patterns and speaks profound truths to us in the use of numbers. 12 happens to be the number of governmental order. And so you have 12 numbers of the Zodiac. You have 12 sons of Jacob and 12 apostles. This is not plagiarism. It's a divine pattern. It's all about perspective. But then the filmmakers give a list of 12s that I couldn't get. I didn't understand what they were talking about. They said there were 12 judges of Israel. You need to go to the Bible and count how many judges there were. It's way more than 12, okay? That only works on a few people. 12 great patriarchs. No, there were 10 prior to the flood. From Adam to Noah, there's only 10. The writers of the prophetic books are even more. They said there were 12 Old Testament prophets, but if you count the prophets, just the written books, there's 16, not to mention Samuel, David, Nathan, and a host of others that didn't write a book. They said there were 12 kings of Israel. Again, go to the Bible sometime and count how many kings there were. 12 princes of Israel. Where's that list? What are you talking about? Okay. Then they got off on the cross. All right, here's what they had to say. The cross is a symbol that has been used by pagans for centuries, and it does show up in the Zodiac. It's also on the back of donkeys. You ever look at the back of a donkey? You know, it's painted that way. Interesting, because that was the very creature that Yeshua rode on into Jerusalem. Why do you think there's a cross on it? How about laminin? Check out laminin, Laminin. It's in everything that's got protein. Go online and check it out. Why is the cross up there? The cross is clearly portrayed in the constellation known as the crux, upon which the double-natured Centaurus is standing while taking the life of Victimus. Get this. A double-natured Centaurus, half man, half horse, speaks of the double nature of our Messiah. He is Yah, and he's man. Victimus is also the Messiah whom Centaurus is killing. What is the meaning of this? Killing himself. Because in John 10, verse 17 and 18, Yeshua said, I lay down my life that I might take it again. So you can't blame it on any people group. It wasn't the Romans, it wasn't the Jews, it was Yeshua, because that was the purpose for which he was born. I lay down my life that I might take it again. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down of myself. I have power to lay it down, and I have power to take it again. This commandment have I received of my Father. And we are at 11 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and stop and pick up with ages in part 3.